If there's no objection, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. Rachel, I assume that you've written down who's there, so we don't need to go through the roll call.
We can do that.
And let's recite the pledge together. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the States of America, to the republic
for which it
stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Man, I know everybody said it because we all had different timings, so good job. All right. So, Will, time for your city manager's report.
Well, wait a minute. Don't we have to have a roll call?
That she's got it on the screen. I already verified that she wrote down it was there.
Okay.
She's the gatekeeper, you know.
Okay, Rachel, whenever you're ready with the first slide. And this is the statistics through the end of July. Next slide, please. Planning, there were combined decisions of all sorts, 11, which is fairly standard for this time of year and a little stronger than we've seen recently. New slide, please. Permits for housing units, 10. Similar story, a little more than we've seen recently, but a little less than we've seen on average over the last year. New slide, please. Permits for other types, 69. New slide, please. Building inspections, 682. New slide, please. 29 submissions through the website, and that's been trending up recently, and you've seen that's continued to trend up. New slide, please. And social media engagement, over 10,000. And that is a lot more than we've seen historically. And I think that's because we've diversified our social media platforms. New slide, please. And fairly standard growth on our socials. And that just tends to steadily track up as we have more followers. New slide, please. However, an extremely busy month for public record requests, no less than 7 of those, which has kept Rachel very busy indeed. And of course, each of those represents many hours of work for her collecting information from different departments. New slide, please. And there's numbers for the payments for account payables and payroll. And I should mention that some of the highest checks were ODOT Financial Services for the bypass loan payment. That was 142,916. Rapid Response Construction LLC, part of the City Hall restoration work, 112,888.52. And CVE Technology Group, that's 84,522 for the renewal of our Splunk license and our Cisco Flex renewal. And that's part of our core backbone that helps the servers, or so I'm told. New slide, please. And in HR activity, fairly busy period, as you can see, for HR activity, a bit more than recently. And we were running recruitments for the digital archivist and grant writer, for an operator 1 for the plant, a system administrator, concrete crew chief, and concrete finisher. Now, at this time, I would mention, we're very close to finally getting our concrete crew filled out. We're still looking for that level 1 position, but we have got some candidates in the pipeline right now. So I'm hoping to finally get that team put together. New slide, please. And IT resolved 228. New slide, please. of which 3 were after hours events. New slide, please. And the library recorded its highest ever door count and its higher ever circulation in the history of the library.
Woohoo.
New slide. Yeah. So incredible. Public safety, 2,652 calls for service. That's a really, really big number as well. That's a lot of activity. And I don't think it's down to any particular reason. We just had a pretty busy season there. There was no rash of fires or anything or incidents, but a busy period. New slide, please. And 1,002 traffic stops were conducted. New slide, please. 585 citations and warnings. And of course, doing a bit more traffic stops, we saw a bit more citations and warnings, as you would expect. New slide, please. And unfortunately, 11 DUIs occurred during the period. And how people still can't get a friend to give them a ride home if they've had too much to drink, I don't really understand. New slide, please. And in dispatch, 929 911 calls and a fairly substantial 3,123 non-emergency calls of all sorts, which of course makes our town safer and more livable for everybody. New slide, please. Production of water, 126.8 million gallons and 65 million gallons of sewage treated. And we'll start seeing the numbers head into the rainy period soon, and you'll see those things will start to flip. New slide, please. 931 work orders were completed, and that's a little bit lower than we've seen recently, but I know for a fact that we've had a lot of work out at the Hess Creek sewer line, and most of the maintenance crew are currently working out there to fix that sewer line that has got itself into the creek. And they're helping shore that up permanently right now, which means recovering the pipe with the right kind of fabric and adding some boulders to make sure that the creek is diverted away from the pipe. So that's going to get wrapped up within the next week or two. New slide, please.
It's coming, just a second. Counselor Cloyd has joined us. He's on Jeff's computer right now. I'm changing his name right now.
New slide, please.
One more. Okay, there we go.
Thank you. And 71.16 megawatt hours of energy generated by the solar production. New slide, please. And so that's the total statistics for the month of July. Additionally, I was asked by a couple of council members about the presence of a graffiti ordinance, because from time to time we see graffiti on buildings around town. And I checked to see if we had an ordinance that would allow the city to compel business owners who might have graffiti on their buildings to fix the issue. I can report that there is no such ordinance on our books, which actually surprised me. There is graffiti as mentioned in a couple of our ordinances, but there is no ordinance that can compel a business owner to correct graffiti on their building. And of course, in the next section of the meeting, if it were the will of council, pardon me, that we worked on such an ordinance, then I would invite a motion to that effect, if that's something that you would like us to work on. Any questions?
Yes, I have one.
Go ahead.
The Hess Creek work that the city's doing, is that near Villa Road? Is that why Villa's been closed? Is that what's going on there? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
To get out to the pipe, and I actually went out and looked at the site last week before we really got into it. They had to put steel plates so that the heavy equipment wouldn't get bogged down going out to the creek to move the soil that they need to do to recover the pipe. So yeah, that's quite a big enterprise. Most of the maintenance division have been out there in some capacity the last few weeks.
Thank you.
Peggy, go ahead. We can't hear you, Peggy. You got to unmute. You're still muted, Peggy.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
What's an example of the graffiti, Will, that you've seen or someone's reported? You're not talking about
So-
murals.
No, it's not murals. I've heard that there may be some businesses downtown that have some graffiti on the sides of them that have been observed by passers-by. And so the thought was simply, well, what are business owners doing to fix that graffiti? And so that led to the inquiry of, is there something on our books right now that would enable us to take action in that regard? And at
Thank
this
you.
time, there is not. I'd probably want to check with James. Is James arrived yet, Rachel?
I saw him.
Yes, he's here.
Okay, so I would probably want to also, of course, check in with my esteemed legal colleague on what the steps might be if we did go down that path.
Well,
Thank you.
I, for one, think that we should have some sort of a graffiti ordinance. Would anybody like to make a proposal? Will, or do you want a motion, or can we just to let you know that's what we'd like you to do?
Well, I mean, to do a bit of research into it, all I would need to know is get council's assent. If you guys all feel that we should do some research into this, and then I would go to James and he would help me navigate it.
Well, I know that Mike can probably agree with me. You know, we've been around town a long time and graffiti has never been an issue here. I sure don't want it to start being an issue while I'm the mayor, so I would definitely like to see some deterrence. Say a small per day fine for anybody that after the city notifies them to take it out. But what do you guys think? Mike, go ahead.
Or
So, yeah, I'm all for having some type of a policy. I think we definitely need that. We haven't really needed it in the past, but you never know. But I also want some teeth to it. I don't want to be like Portland where they don't do anything, you know? And so I want some fines or, you know, something that's going to be serious so that somebody that tags or tries to tag a building, if they get caught, there's some consequences for it.
All right, Elise?
Well, I also don't want graffiti unless it's like art that's intentionally on the wall. But I guess I would just say yes, I'd support moving forward with an ordinance. But also, I wonder if it's an opportunity that we could bring to downtown coalition to see if there's, you know, maybe some volunteers that would support businesses that had graffiti happen, because it's not like the business themselves graffitied the wall. So I just feel like maybe we should chat with our downtown business team to see what they're hearing and if there's some sort of support that we could offer, because it would be a financial cost to whatever business was graffitied, I guess.
Anybody else? I do agree with Elise. You know, unfortunately we have to find the business owner because he's the only one that can authorize somebody to do something on his property as well. But you know, I feel the same way. I mean, on an individual circumstance, if a business owner gets his business all painted up by somebody, then we should, you know, find a way to help that person take care of it. I'm definitely in favor of that.
So, Honorable Mayor, I would note that we, of course, do have a fund, the Community Support Fund, that we could direct towards helping somebody paint out graffiti, buy them some good quality paint and such for a few $100s. But also connecting with the Downtown Coalition is something that I could easily do. So I think what I'm hearing by consensus is that it's something that's worth exploring, this idea, and I should connect to James to get more information. Does that sound about right, folks?
Yes.
Yes. All right, so you'll bring that
Thank
back to us at some future time. I guess we
Yep.
should ask this, does anybody disagree? Does anybody want to say no, they don't think it's a good idea? All right, so let's move on. We're item 6.1. Review and authorization of funding for the CET money. I think Leanne's here somewhere to give the presentation, right?
Yep. So good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm back tonight to bring back the updated award for the first round CET Notice of Funding Availability. Next slide, please. During our last discussion on August 19th, Council deliberated over the recommendations brought forth by the Affordable Housing Commission for the first dispersal of CET funds. After discussion and the vote, it was decided to give the entirety of the dispersal to the Yamhill County Affordable Housing Corporation in the amount of $310,738.35. If they were willing to accept the additional $48,238.35 above their initial request, and the applicant has enthusiastically agreed to accept the additional monies for their home rehabilitation project. Next slide, please. Staff has accordingly revised the resolution to reflect this allocation and therefore is requesting that City Council adopt the updated resolution 2024-3941 awarding fiscal year 23-24 construction excise tax funds to Yamhill County Affordable Housing Corporation in the amount of that $310,738.35. That's kind of it. Do y'all have any questions?
Does anybody have questions for Leanne? I think we're all pretty well versed in this. Would anybody like to make a motion? Peggy,
I move that the council adopt the updated resolution 2024-3941, awarding the entirety of the funds to the Yamhill County Affordable Housing Corporation, as Leanne read to us.
Second.
all right. Is there any further discussion? All right, let's see if I can figure out how to raise my hand.
Oh,
I've been watching all you guys do it. Oh, the heck with it. All right, all in favor signify by saying yes. Yes.
Yes.
yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. I believe the vote was unanimous. Does anybody disagree with that? Thank you very much. Is there anything else that we want to talk about today? Glenn, you've got your hand up. What? Hi, Glenn. Or he
That
maybe
was just for
voted.
the vote there. Sorry about that. But
Not a problem. Not
sorry,
a problem.
just want you to know that Chief Kosmicki and I are holding down the fort here. So while you guys are all out and about, we're actually working hard over here.
You mean you went in there and you had to bring Chief Kosmicki in there to keep you safe?
Yeah, he was my guard tonight.
I love it.
Playing a pretty mean game and no go finish.
All right. At least you have your hand up. What's up?
Not to discuss today, but like a potential future agenda item. I have been having conversations with a few people over the weekend just around around our bus routes. And I don't think we've heard in a while an update from Yamhill County Transit. And I wondered if the council would be interested in hearing from the transit authority and maybe why we're not getting the amount of routes that we had initially paid in for. I'm guessing that COVID, I used to be on that committee. It was a committee. I don't know who's on it now on council, but we contribute annually to the service, and I'm disappointed the lack of routes for Newberg residents when we increased the bus stops and kind of publicized out that we were going to be having increased transportation to and from McMinnville specifically. So just a future topic, people would be willing to entertain that.
All right.
I have something I want to discuss.
Go ahead, Robin.
Yes, so I've been hearing a lot of chatter online, a lot of complaints about our roads in Newberg. So I think as a council, we've touched on many things over the last couple years, but roads, we haven't done a lot with. I know Will has a plan, and he's working on that, but I think we don't have enough money for all the road repairs. Our roads are getting worse and worse. The TUF is not covering it with, we did increase the TUF, but inflation is more than that, and our roads just keep getting worse. So I would like to discuss at a future date, how we are going to work on the roads in Newberg. I have a few ideas. So yeah.
Okay. We'll we can take a look at getting that on a future agenda.
All right.
Yep, we'll do it.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything they want to cover tonight? Speak now or hold your peace for 2 more weeks.
And Honourable Mayor, I'll reach
3
out
weeks.
to the YAMCO and ask them if they'd like to give us a presentation as well on the transportation stuff.
All right. All right. Well, if everybody's happy, let's this meeting's adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.